So there's been a few things that I've been struggling with lately as I try to build this, what I hope will be a career. So I'm going to talk, in this video I'm going to talk about one thing in particular that I'm struggling with, and then in another video I'll talk about one of the other things that I'm struggling with, because there's quite a few things. I don't want to talk about all of them in one video because it would be far too long. So I'll talk about one of the things in this video, and then perhaps I'll do one video per week. Perhaps I can do like my weekly struggles. So I might do that. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the struggles that I'm finding with trying to print my own photos. As you may have seen, if you've watched my recent videos, I've just recently bought my own A3 printer. So like I've said, very excited to be able to print my own photos. And the dream would be to actually sell my own prints as well. So I've set up a store on Etsy. But yeah, it's not that easy. If you haven't done any printing yourself before, some people might just think, oh, what could be difficult? You take a photo, you print a photo, job done. But there's a lot of things you got to think about. First of all, there's the camera. Now, different cameras have different sensor sizes, so the size of the image they then produce can differ depending on the size of the sensor that they have. So you have obviously full frame cameras. The camera that I have at the moment is the Fujifilm X-T2, which is obviously a crop sensor, and that shoots an aspect ratio of 3:2. The camera that I used to have was a Micro Four Thirds camera, so that shoots at an aspect ratio of 4:3. So all these different cameras, depending on the sensor that they have, produce images in different sizes. Now, you then have the paper. Papers obviously come in different sizes. Traditionally, obviously the paper sizes are like A1, A2, A3, A4, etc. They're the commonly available paper sizes. Now, those paper sizes, however, are completely different to the size of the image that your camera produces. And then thirdly, you have the photo frames. Obviously, if you're wanting to sell prints, people are going to want to put them in a frame and then hang them on a wall. But the size of frames available, commonly available in shops, are again completely different to not just the size of the paper that's readily available, but also the size of the images that your camera produces. So the frame sizes that are commonly available, obviously there's a lot of the small ones like 5:7, 6:4s, 8:10 is very common, and then some of the slightly larger ones available are 16:12, 20:16. But again, all those sizes are different to the size of the image and the size of the paper. So for me, trying to sell my own prints on Etsy, for example, there's a lot of things I got to consider trying to work out what size prints I should sell. It's easy for me to buy A4, A3 paper. So do I sell A4, A3 prints? If I do, can people find frames to put them in? And am I going to have to crop my images? Ideally, I don't really want to crop my images, but if I only try to produce photos that my camera will produce without cropping, can I find that paper? Can people find frames in that size? So there's so many things to think about. So I've decided anyway to try and sell A4 and A3 prints, just because printing at home with my own printer, that's obviously the size paper that I can easily get hold of. It does mean that I might have to crop some of my images slightly, which isn't ideal, but I don't really have a choice. And it does mean that although you can get A4 and A3 frames on places like Amazon, most people, I guess, are going to get frames from like the high street. So it would mean perhaps just trying to find the nearest size frame that you can, maybe one slightly larger, and with a mount, just try and fit it as best you can, I suppose. Again, it's not ideal, but I don't know what the other solution is. Another thing I've noticed with printing a couple of my photos is that, I don't know how much you can tell this, but what I'm finding is that when my photos are printed, they look darker. They look darker on the print than they do on the monitor, especially in the shadows. The shadows in particular look darker than what they do on my monitor. Now, I have obviously recently calibrated both of my displays. However, a print can still always look different, and obviously I know you can get different color profiles for the printer, and it can depend what paper you've got, and the whole color profiles regarding printers is another aspect that I'm having to learn. But it's certainly difficult. There's a lot to think about. There's bit of a learning curve to it all. I wish it was just a matter of taking a photo, printing it, boom, job done, but unfortunately it's not. So these are some of the things that I've been struggling with in the early stages of trying to print my own photos. And then there's Etsy itself. I have been considering selling prints on Etsy for quite some time, but I wasn't sure about it. I have now decided to give it a try, just because Etsy is a place that already has got a lot of traffic, a lot of people on that site, a lot of people going to that site to look for prints, whereas with my own website, you can buy prints on my website, but obviously it's very, very difficult to get a lot of traffic onto your own site, and then if you're not getting a huge amount of traffic, you're not going to get a lot of sales. So for that reason, I thought I would try Etsy, but I still have a couple of doubts about it. The reason why I put off joining Etsy for a long time was because I was worried it would undervalue my work, and that is still my main concern about it. So still, I don't know, is it a good idea, is it not a good idea? Yes, there's a lot of traffic on Etsy, but is it going to undervalue my work as a photographer? I'm not sure. But what I will say about a lot of the struggles that I'm having at the moment, and something that kind of puts my mind at ease a bit, is that when we look at professional and when we look at successful photographers, we're looking at them in a period of success when they've been through all the learning process and the hard work and all the struggles that I'm going through now. They've done all of that, and we don't see them as they're starting out. We only see them when they're successful. So I think it's important to remember that those successful photographers, they went through all of the same struggles. So I think it's important just to try, just to do it, and then learn as you go. This whole thing is a journey, and I'm just documenting that journey as I go for all to see. So I think it's important for myself to remember, and other people who might be in a similar situation. Just don't look at other successful photographers and frustrate yourself with, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing it all so perfectly, and I'm really struggling. Just remember that they went through exactly the same learning process. So if you're like me, then just don't give up, just keep plugging away, and as long as you're always growing and always learning, always improving, slowly and gradually, then you're doing the right thing. So that is the first in what may end up being a series of my weekly struggles, but either way, certainly a lot of other things that I'm struggling with that I will share with you. But I'd like to try and turn this into a bit of a discussion as well, and then hopefully we can all help each other. So I want to ask you, do you print at home? Do you sell your own prints? If so, let me know your own experiences. Do you have any experience with any of the issues that I've talked about in this video? If so, then let me know in the comments below, and as I've said, hopefully we can all help and grow together. But that's it for this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.